welcome to this edition of the Mize Breakroom. I'm your host, Marc Swearengin. Today, I'm joined with our shareholder, Andrew Spikes, and we're here to talk about our Benalign, kind of that history, what it is, and how it impacts you. So, Andrew, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about Benalign. Who are they? What do they do? Kind of our history with them.
Yeah, so Benalign really was it's been in the making for a long time. Maybe not known as Benalign, but it's been years where a lot of clients have asked, "Hey, are there perks and other benefits that we can offer our employees?" A lot of small businesses struggle to maybe get those without having to, fork over a certain amount of money or promise a certain amount of participation. But with Mize having well over 160,000 employees on our payroll platform, we were able to work directly with Benalign, who offers a variety of non-traditional benefits to employees, at a reasonable cost. And based on that large size population, we were able to do it in an effective, cost-effective way for employers.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, kind of why now? Why does it make sense for us to be kind of introducing this thing and kind of bringing it, as an option for our clients?
Sure. Well, one of the biggest issues when you go out there to ask somebody with non-traditional benefits is how do they deliver it? And you can certainly do it through a lot of traditional ways of email and flyers in restaurants and things like that. But really the time that made the most sense, and also to help with, having employees be able to find one place, was when we decided we were going to go into and create our own mobile app. So the timing really coincided with this makes sense, where we can finally have a platform for employees to actually access the benefit.
You mentioned we have this kind of platform that this is kind of part of our platform. We talk about maybe how it makes sense now and how this is evolving, so we can kind of create that one place for our employees and our clients to kind of engage.
As we talk about the advent of the app, this is something that started to come into my mind a number of years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, a little before COVID. Getting a number of clients that were saying, "Hey, I've got employees and they got to go here for, to get this done. And then they've got to go here to find these benefits, and they've got to go over here." And by the time they got done, they're like, it's just too many places for employees to go. So one of the visions of the app was to kind of take it and make it a what I would call a master app, which is the ability to, have it be part of payroll. With our acquisition years ago of the trust assets and the onboarding portion of that, we're able to build a new robust app around onboarding, and then also be able to put vendors into the app, right, where they can have a single point of access. So that way employees don't have to go, okay, I need to go over here to access this. I've got to go through this onboarding process, and then I need to fill out my payroll stuff over here. It was just one place where they could go and access everything.
Great. So one place they can go find out everything they need to know about that, how they can access. So just kind of makes it easier for employees.
Right.
That are working with Mize.
As of today, we're rolling it out. We've got a significant number of clients on the app right now. We're going to have, I think, everybody on the app by midsummer. The first edition of the app is really just based around payroll. So they'll be able to access their payroll information, bank account information, personal information, those types of things. Certainly if the employer wants, they can update a lot of that information right there. And then they'll also have an option at the employer's decision to access Benalign. Again, employee paid, so it doesn't require the employer to spend any money to be able to provide that benefit. They can access, obviously, all the insurance and different things that we just discussed. There's also a perks program. And then there's also some other vendors that will be coming in there. The other one that's in there right now is Zayzoon, which is an earned wage access program.
Okay, great. And talk a little bit about those, kind of that high level, the benefits. Like what are you hearing from clients, and what are kind of things they want to do, and how does this help them in their business?
Right. Well, I think the other thing that's really changed over the landscape from when I kind of started down this road, which has probably been almost 8 years of thinking about trying to find a partner in this space. The whole employment landscape has changed, and I think the competitiveness around keeping employees is something that's really come in tune, and it's not just with pay. Statistically, there's a lot of other things that employers can do to keep employees employed with them. And some of that is offering benefits, not just employer paid, but other benefits that they can access. It's kind of creates a stickiness.
That's great. And the benefits of a telehealth specifically to employees, what does it give them, both from the employee standpoint and from the employer?
Right. So that's a good point. So, Benalign in itself is really an employee participation, meaning it's designed for employees to sign up for their own benefits. Again, just non-traditional benefits. But they also have some group stuff, as you mentioned, telehealth. Telehealth is something that's come around, and a lot of employers have found it, very helpful. Some of the complaints around it, though, are also that they don't get a lot of participation in it. So I think when you ask specifically why Benalign, I think they have a great program to not only offer these benefits, but also if employers choose to offer, say, something like telehealth, they'll really help make sure that it's in front of your employees. Because the worst thing for an employer to do is to pay for a benefit and then not get any benefit by employees knowing that they have that available to them. So we look for a partner that can do that. Also, Mize will help support that communication process to make sure employees are aware.
That's great. I mean, I know our clients, obviously staffing is a huge issue with them, and every time an employee's out, it's a strain on their organization. So it seems like this kind of benefit that kind of will help, keep maybe more people working, allow them to do that. So kind of the benefits of, why would an employee kind of use a telehealth benefit?
Right. The telehealth in itself, I think, has a lot of statistics around it, right? When you think about it, an employee gets sick, might be in the afternoon, might be in the evening. Without that telehealth, they might just wait till the next day. They're more sick. They're getting to the doctor. They finally get their medicines. With telehealth, there's a lot of statistics that show, hey, they're able to get on the phone that evening, potentially even get their medicine that night. And we're cutting that time down to maybe not missing any work to maybe only missing 1 day instead of 2 days. So when an employer, having employees have access to telehealth, I think is a great thing. Along with some of their other benefits, right? I mean, they offer legal support, financial wellness programs. They actually have pet telehealth.
Okay, I heard about this. So tell me a little bit about pet telehealth.
Right. So pet telehealth is not pet insurance, right? There's a big misnomer that it somehow has insurance. Very much so like people telehealth, it is a veterinary that's online. You can either schedule an appointment or get one live and go through a number of things. And statistically, I think they show that they can handle 60 to 70% of it. So with the population that we're seeing, pets are actually, I think I've seen a statistic that there's more households with pets than there are with kids at this point in time.
Wow.
And so when you think about that, having access to even that, again, not having to wake up the next morning, try to get into a vet, especially when you get into the coastal states and certain areas where there's a huge shortage in vets, this is a great benefit. It's actually included with the group telehealth, but employees can also subscribe to it individually.
That's fantastic. I know that when you talk about the pets, I mean, people may be getting more worried about their pets than they even do their own kids. But if they, and going to a vet is pretty expensive. So for an employee, they can solve that with a phone call, not miss any work, and get what they need. It sounds like a really great benefit that I would imagine a lot more people would, if they knew about it, would take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Well, Andrew, thank you very much for joining us today to talk about Benalign. If anybody has questions, would like to learn more information about that, you can certainly reach out to Andrew, myself. You could also email breakroom@mizecpas.com, and we'll follow up with you and give you all the information you need. Andrew, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Mize Breakroom. If you watch this episode on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you never miss another episode. You can find the Mize Breakroom anywhere you can find podcasts. If you like what you heard, please rate and review the podcast 5 stars. Looking for more information? You can find us on most social media platforms at Mize CPAs. Thanks for listening, and see you next time in the Breakroom. The Mize Breakroom is produced by Mize CPAs and hosted by Marc Swearengin. Mize CPAs is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice. The information shared in this podcast is for general information purposes only and is not intended to constitute legal or technical accounting, tax, consulting, and/or professional advice that may apply to your specific business. The listener is encouraged to consult counsel and or their accountant before making decisions or taking any action concerning the matters in this communication to address the recipient's particular facts, circumstances, position, business considerations, or other unique relevant matters. as well as to evaluate any applicable federal, state, or local laws.